إن الحمد لله الذي أنزل على عبده الكتاب ولم يجعل له عوجا ونزل الفرقان على عبده ليكون للعالمين نذيرا ونزل عليه الكتاب بالحق مصدقا لما بين يديه وأنزل التوراة والإنجيل فتبارك الله رب العالمين وهو الذي أرسل عيسى ابن مريم وجعله وأمه عليهما السلام آية للعالمين وبعث محمدا صلى الله عليه وسلم وجعله رحمة للعالمين فتبارك الله رب العرش الكريم وتبارك الذي له ملك السماوات والأرض وما بينهما وعنده علم الساعة وإليه ترجعون نحمده سبحانه ونستعينه ونستغفره ونستهديه ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ به من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهد الله فهو المهتد ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له لا ند له ولا ضد له ولا والد له ولا ولد له أحده في أسمائه وصفاته ونشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله الرسول النبي الأمي الذي يؤمن بالله وكلماته واتبعوه لعلكم تهتدون أرسله ربه رحمة للعالمين وسيد المرسلين وخاتم النبيين بشيرا ونذيرا بين يدي الساعة فالذين آمنوا به وعزروه ونصروه واتبعوا النور الذي أنزل معه أولئك هم المفلحون ومن يعص الله ورسوله ويتعدى حدوده يدخله نارا وكان ذلك على الله يسيرا اللهم صل وسلم وبارك عليه وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله ولتنظر نفس ما قدمت لغد واتقوا الله إن الله خبير بما تعملون يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله واخشوا يوما لا يجزي والد عن ولده ولا مولود هو جاز عن والده شيئا إن وعد الله حق فلا تغرنكم الحياة الدنيا ولا يغرنكم بالله الغرور يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون ثم أما بعد. The World Organization, the body of human civilizations and nations, yesterday sent a very strong rebuke, a very strong rejection to those who believe that they can unilaterally decide the question of something as complex as Al-Quds. The world voted with the strongest majority to say that they reject the unilateral declaration of Al-Quds to be the capital of some fictitious country. And sometimes we Muslims are confused the difference between the land and a nation. The piece of land in dispute, dear brothers and sisters, that piece of land for thousands of years was called Philistine. That's the only name of the place in the Bible, Old and New Testaments. Philistine is the name of the place. However, there is a group of people, a nation that we have come to know even in Quran to be called Bani Israel. And they are regarded as a nation of people. But today, some of them call themselves Jews. Not everyone who is Jewish is a member of Bani Israel. However, somebody formed a nation that they want to call Israel. That is separate from the place called Philistine. I hope that is clear. That when you talk about Philistine and when you talk about Al-Yahud, Bani Israel, they are not one and the same. So therefore, Bani Israel can live anywhere they want on earth. Like Allah said, وَقُلْنَا مِن بَعْدِهِ لِبَنِي إِسْرَائِيلِ أُسْكُنُوا الْأَرْضِ. Dwell on the earth. They have never been able to settle in one place in peace and security. ضُرِبَتْ عَلَيْهِمُ الذِّلَّةُ أَيْنَمَا ثُقِفُوا إِلَّا بِحَبْلٍ مِّنَ اللَّهِ وَحَبْلٍ مِّنَ النَّاسِ وَبَاءُوا بِغَضَبٍ مِّنَ اللَّهِ وَضُرِبَتْ عَلَيْهِمُ الْمَسْكَنَةُ. Allah says they've been stricken with disgrace and humiliation everywhere they go. These are the words of Allah. They lived in Europe. They were removed from Europe. So my dear respected brothers and sisters, to focus on something, why is there someone making a declaration about the decision of Al-Quds now? It was a political declaration. It had no real significance per se. Politics, that's what the declaration was. I know some Muslims got worked up. Don't get worked up whenever politics is the case. But today I want you and I to go deeper down. What is the goal of those who were the proponents of this declaration? Two nations decided to make this declaration. One openly and the other one secretly. And that is to declare that Al-Quds is the eternal capital of a fictitious country that did not exist until after 1945, after World War II. Isn't that very strange? But why? Why now? There is a belief behind the declaration. Put the politics aside. Some people have a belief. Those that call themselves Al-Yahud, that have that strong Zionistic tendency to oppress others, to usurp land, and to do all sorts of corruption on earth. They have a belief that when they establish a state, the true Al-Maseeh will come. Which means they don't believe that E'saa Ibn Maryam alayhi salam is Al-Maseeh. Today, that's their belief, that Al-Maseeh E'saa Ibn Maryam is not the Mashiach of Allah. They have to do this so that they will get the real Mashiach. Then why is it that the second nation that supports that nonsensical ideology, why are they in this? Because some people who consider themselves Christians of different fringe group and right-wing stripes, they believe that if, again, Israel is established as a nation, as a power, Al-Maseeh will come. Subhanallah. Everybody believes that if you do this, Al-Maseeh will come. One group says the Mashiach that the other group believes is not the Mashiach. This is nonsense. This is crazy now. In fact, the Christians believe that when Al-Maseeh comes, he will come and take the believers to heaven. We will all just fly up in the sky together. The rapture, we call it. He will judge between the nations. He will put the righteous on one hand, on the right, and the wicked on the left. He will bring back the sword. This is in the Bible. So we have two Al-Maseeh we're waiting for. What do you believe, brothers and sisters? What did Allah reveal? Because the crux of the issue is the coming of Al-Maseeh E'saa Ibn Maryam. Muslim, what are you waiting for then? Because it looks like the only conflict, the crux of the conflict between three religions that claim to have a similar root sometimes erroneously considered Abrahamic faiths, in plural. Allah says, مَا كَانَ إِبْرَاهِيمُ يَهُودِيًّا وَلَا نَصْرَانِيًّا وَلَكِنْ كَانَ حَنِيفًا مُسْلِمًا وَمَا كَانَ مِنَ الْمُشْرِكِينَ. Allah said Ibrahim was not a Jew or a Christian. So you and I cannot say Abrahamic faiths. Ibrahim had one religion, Tawheed, Islam. But other people believe that the Abrahamic faith. The one controversy between the three of them is E'saa Ibn Maryam alayhi salam. What we believe about him. And then we all then believe he will come back. But the time he comes back is very, very important. So let me take you back to what Allah said about the coming back. In Mecca, when the Prophet ﷺ was giving da'wah to Quraysh, calling them to Tawheed, warning them about the worship of false gods, one day, sitting in Masjid al-Haram, Al-Walid ibn Mughira, and another bin al-Harith, and others, they decided to argue with the Prophet ﷺ about gods and this and that. And then finally Allah told him to give them this warning. إِنَّكُمْ وَمَا تَعْبُدُونَ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ حَصَبُ جَهَنَّمَ أَنْتُمْ لَهَا وَارِدُونَ. Tell the Prophet ﷺ, Allah said, tell them this, that you and what you're worshiping besides Allah, you will become the fuel for Jahannam. You will certainly be thrown into it. So another bin al-Harith, he's the one that got defeated in the army. He went and he sat down. So another one said, you know what? If I meet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, I will defeat him in an argument. So his strategy was this. He asked the question, is anyone or anything that is worshipped other than Allah, will that be thrown into hellfire along with those that worship it? So it's all sounds like a trick question. He said yes. Then they said, well, I guess E'saa Ibn Maryam will be in hellfire. Logical argument. That if anything that is worshipped other than Allah is going to go to hellfire, then E'saa is going to go to hellfire. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ سَبَقَتْ لَهُم مِّنَّ الْحُسْنَى أُولَٰئِكَ عَنْهَا مُبْعَدُونَ لَا يَسْمَعُونَ حَسِيسًا. That those who were worshiping Allah, following Tawheed and doing righteous deeds, they are not affected if somebody worships them. That was the rebuttal to the argument. So they were defeated again. Then Allah tells us why they were doing, why they raised this point about E'saa. Allah says in Az-Zukhruf, وَلَمَّا ضُرِبَ ابْنُ مَرْيَمَ مَثَلًا إِذَا قَوْمُكَ مِنْهُ يَصِدُّونَ وَقَالُوا أَآلِهَتُنَا خَيْرٌ أَمْ هُوَ مَا ضَرَبُوهُ لَكَ إِلَّا جَدَلًا بَلْ هُمْ قَوْمٌ خَصِمُونَ. That when you gave them the example of E'saa, they started making mockery of that. They said, are our gods better than he? If people take him as a god, we have Hubal and others as God. They know he's no better than our gods. If our gods go to hellfire, he should go to hellfire too. Allah said, مَا ضَرَبُوهُ لَكَ إِلَّا جَدَلًا. They're not making that, they're not striking that example except to argue because they are people that are quarrelsome. And Allah said about E'saa, إِنْ هُوَ إِلَّا عَبْدٌ. He's just one of our servants. أَنْعَمْنَا عَلَيْهِ. We just gave him favor. وَجَعَلْنَاهُ مَثَلًا لِبَنِي إِسْرَائِيلَ. And we made him an example for Bani Israel. Then Allah said this about E'saa in Al-Quran. I hope every Muslim here and who will get this message, you must believe in what Allah said about E'saa now. وَإِنَّهُ لَعِلْمٌ لِلسَّاعَةِ. That E'saa is the knowledge of the hour. In another riwayah of recitation, وَإِنَّهُ لَعَلَمُ السَّاعَةِ. He is the sign of the hour. And Allah said, فَلَا تَمْتَرُنَّ بِهَا. Do not have any doubt that the hour will come. That when you see E'saa, the hour will be near. So, the Jews are waiting for some Al-Maseeh. The Christians are waiting for Al-Maseeh. And the Muslims are waiting for Al-Maseeh. But when that comes, it is not a nice time. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continues to say, هَلْ يَنْظُرُونَ إِلَّا السَّاعَةَ أَنْ تَأْتِيَهُمْ بَغْتَةً. Are people waiting for the hour to come, sneaking up upon them? Then Allah gave us this reminder in Al-An'am. هَلْ يَنْظُرُونَ إِلَّا أَنْ تَأْتِيَهُمُ الْمَلَائِكَةُ. Are they waiting for the malaika to descend upon them, to come? أَوْ يَأْتِيَ رَبُّكَ. Or for Allah to present Himself. أَوْ يَأْتِيَ بَعْضُ آيَاتِ رَبِّكَ. Or for some of the ayat of Allah to come. Allah says, يَوْمَ يَأْتِي بَعْضُ آيَاتِ رَبِّكَ لا ينفع نفسا إيمانها لم تكن آمنت من قبل أو كسبت في إيمانها خيرا. When the signs of Allah show up, if you never believed before that time, Allah says your iman is not accepted at that moment. If you never used to make salah before that time, your salah is no longer accepted. Is that what people are waiting for? No. They think by making Al-Quds the capital of a fictitious nation, Israel, then that will bring whatever Mashiach they're waiting for, that will give them victory. Allah says, you keep waiting, we are waiting too. Jews, Christians, Muslims, we're waiting for the main event. The coming of E'saa Ibn Maryam alayhi salam. And that coming is not a nice time. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين ثم أما بعد. My dear respected brothers and sisters, over 2,000 years ago, and Allahu A'lam how long, Allah decided to bring a human being into this dunya through a miracle. Every single human being that enters this dunya only enters by birth, except Adam alayhi salam and Hawa. Adam alayhi salam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created him from scratch with dust. And Adam is the father of all human beings. And then from Adam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created his wife, Hawa. وَخَلَقَ مِنْهَا زَوْجَهَا. And then the rest of all human beings have parents. They're born through parents. Except one, E'saa Ibn Maryam, alayhi salam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that He made E'saa and Maryam an ayah for mankind. Subhanallah. Even when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave Maryam alayhi salam the good news of that, Allah said this is an ayah. قال كذلك قال ربك هو علي هين ولنجعله آية للناس ورحمة منا وكان أمرا مقضيا. That Allah wanted this to be an ayah to mankind at a time when human beings are discovering the science of birth, the science of life, the science of diseases. So E'saa will become a challenge to disbelievers to show them, I am a man that was created without a father. I have a mother. That's why Allah calls him E'saa Ibn Maryam. Every time Allah talks directly to E'saa in Quran, Allah says E'saa Ibn Maryam. إِذْ قَالَ اللَّهُ يَا عِيسَى ابْنَ مَرْيَمَ. My dear respected brothers and sisters, Allah has demonstrated today in our lives how He can create with only one parent. Scientists were monitoring some sharks of the wild. And they kept these sharks in captivity. After a while, the shark gave birth to a baby shark. The baby shark only has maternal DNA, no paternal DNA. Meaning the shark has no father, technically speaking. In the wild, scientists have discovered that. If Allah can do that to a shark, what about a human being? SubhanAllah. This is provable science that Allah can make any offspring be born but having only one parent. E'saa Ibn Maryam alayhi salam has only a mother, no father. That was the miracle, the challenge for us human beings to ponder Allah's ability to create. And Allah said, إِنَّ مَثَلَ عِيسَى عِنْدَ اللَّهِ كَمَثَلِ آدَمَ خَلَقَهُ مِنْ تُرَابٍ ثُمَّ قَالَ لَهُ كُنْ فَيَكُنْ. Allah said it's so easy to do it. It's just to say kun and then it happens. That's it. You don't need to do anything. So that's the first miracle, the birth of Isa, the conception of Isa. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, after that, فَحَمَلَتْهُ فَانْتَبَذَتْ بِهِ مَكَانًا قَصِيًّا. When they blew the ruh of Isa in her body, she immediately became pregnant, she immediately carried him, and not too long after she was delivering him. Miracle number 2. She did not necessarily have a 9-month period of pregnancy. Quickly. Some of the Sahaba and some of the ulama, they said that it was reported from Ibn Abbas. It was like one-day event, few hours of the day. That's why فَحَمَلَتْهُ فَانْتَبَذَتْ بِهِ مَكَانًا قَصِيًّا فَأَجَاءَهَا الْمَخَاضُ إِلَى جِذْعِ النَّخْلَةِ. Imagine if she was pregnant for 9 months. They would have stoned her to death before the baby was even born. Because Bani Israel's Sharia, how does a woman get pregnant without a husband? That's the whole miracle. She was not married. And أَنَّا يَكُونُ لِي وَلَدٍ وَلَمْ يَمْسَسْنِي بَشَرٌ وَلَمْ أَكُ بَغِيًّا. How can I have a son? I don't have a husband. No man has touched me. Miracle number 2. Quick pregnancy. Not 9 months. SubhanAllah. Miracle number 3. When she delivered, فَنَادَاهَا مِنْ تَحْتِهَا أَلَّا تَحْزَنِي قَدْ جَعَلَ رَبُّكِ تَحْتَكِ سَرِيًّا. Who was speaking beneath her? Is it the ground? Is it the river? Or is it the babe that just got delivered? فَنَادَاهَا. He called beneath her. Who's he? SubhanAllah. Have you thought about Surah to Maryam tells us the story. That's number 3. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told her to وَكُلِي وَاشْرَبِي وَقَرِّي عَيْنَا. Eat, drink, and then be comforted. If anybody asks you, فَإِمَّا تَرَيِنَّ مِنَ الْبَشَرِ أَحَدٍ فَقُولِي إِنِّي نَذَرْتُ لِلرَّحْمَنِ صَوْمًا فَلَنْ أُكَلِّمَ الْيَوْمَ إِنسِيًّا. If you meet anyone, say, I have already vowed a fast to Allah, I will not speak. She's fasting from speaking. And when they asked her, Ya Maryam, لَقَدْ جِئْتِ شَيْئًا فَرِيًّا. You have done something so unimaginable. يا أخت هارون ما كان أبوك امرأ سوء وما كانت أمك بغيا. Your father was never an evil man and your mother was never known to be unchaste. Where did you get this baby from? فأشارت إليه. She just pointed at him. They got upset. كيف نكلم من كان في المهد صبيا. Miracle number 4. قال إني عبد الله آتاني الكتاب وجعلني نبيا. Imagine a group of people, some of them already picked up the stones to stone Maryam alayhi salam. And Isa says, I am the servant of Allah. آتاني الكتاب وجعلني نبيا. He gave me scripture and he made me a prophet. Listen to what Isa says. وَأَوْصَانِي بِالصَّلَاةِ وَالزَّكَاةِ مَا دُمْتُ حَيًّا. And Allah has enjoined upon me salah and zakah for as long as I live. My dear respected brothers and sisters, you know what Allah said about Isa? وَيُكَلِّمُ النَّاسَ فِي الْمَهْدِ وَكَهْلًا. فِي الْمَهْدِ وَكَهْلًا. He spoke when he was in the cradle and when he will be in old age. In the cradle till he's in old age. Remember that. So these are the miracles. And then he did many different things. He said, Allah said, وَأُبْرِئُ الْأَكْمَهَ وَالْأَبْرَصَ وَأُحْيِي الْمَوْتَى. He cured the leper, the blind. He brought the dead to life. Many miracles of science. The healings are miracles of science. When people could not cure leprosy 2,000 years ago, if you become a leper, that's it. Everybody will just run away from you. Leprosy is a very bad disease, very contagious. You don't see leprosy anymore in the United States. Go to some countries, you'll find leprosy. It eats up the limbs of you, leaves different spots and scars. It scars you completely. You become ostracized. E'saa Ibn Maryam alayhi salam will touch somebody with any disease, they'll be cured. Allah tells us in the Quran. We believe in these miracles. وَأَحْيَا الْمَوْتَى, and He brought the dead back to life. بِإِذْنِ And Allah reminds that it's His permission. All these miracles we believe. Why are Jews, Christians, and Muslims still in confusion? We accept the virgin conception of Isa. Take this news to your Christian neighbors. We don't have a doubt about how Isa was conceived, except that they believe Allah impregnated her. أعوذ بالله من ذلك. تعالى الله عن ذلك علوا كبيرا. That's what some Christians believe. They don't believe Allah created Isa, but Allah impregnated Maryam. So look at the sixth thought. Well, we believe that Allah had the power to create. They don't believe, they don't know that Isa spoke as a child. We know that he spoke as a child and he performed miracles. إِذْ تَخْلُقُ مِنَ الطِّينِ كَهَيْئَةِ الطَّيْرِ فَتَنْفُخُ فِيهِ. He created with clay the shape of a bird. He blew into it, he became a live bird. We have that miracle. The Bible has no miracles of Isa when he was a child. Take that message to your Christian neighbors. But what happened when people conspired to kill Isa? When people conspired to kill him, it says in the book of Matthew chapter 26, he said to his companions, he says, I feel sorrowful because the Son of Man will be betrayed to be killed. He said, I will be killed. Someone will betray me. One of you, his own ashab, will betray him. Imagine one of the Sahaba will betray Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, deliver him to Quraysh. One of the Sahaba of Isa was the ringleader in this. His name is Judas Iscariot, according to the Bible. So he decided to pray to Allah to be saved. He picked two of his companions, Simon Peter and another one. He said, come with me, sit here, I'm going to go over there to pray. When he went, he fell asleep. They said in the Bible, the book of Matthew, read it, chapter 26. They said Isa went, and I will demonstrate, he went to pray to Allah, and he fell prostrate on his face. And in his sajda, he asked Allah, if this cup of death will pass me, it will be your will. It's not my will, it's whatever you've decided. Isa prayed and begged Allah to be spared the horrible death coming his way. This is the Bible, the book of Matthew. He prayed one time, he went and looked, his companions were sleeping. He woke them up. He said, you can't even wait 2 minutes for me to pray. He went back. He prayed again, same prayer. If this death can escape me. Mind you, if Isa's mission was to die for your sins, isn't it kind of strange he's asking God to save him from his mission? Like he chickened out? That's the only time Allah addresses Isa without saying Isa ibn Maryam in Quran. Surah Al-Imran, then Allah said, maybe in response to the dua. Remember, every Nabi has one special dua. If he makes it, Allah will accept it immediately. Then Allah said, إِذْ قَالَ اللَّهُ يَا Isa. That's the only time Allah talks to Isa without saying Ya Isa in Quran, because Isa was alone, nobody around. So Allah doesn't refer to Isa. It was a private conversation now. Dua being answered immediately. إِذْ قَالَ اللَّهُ يَا Isa إِنِّي مُتَوَفِّيكَ. Oh Isa, I will do something. مُتَوَفِّيكَ وَرَافِعُكَ إِلَيْهِ وَمُطَهِّرُكَ مِنَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا وَجَاعِلُ الَّذِينَ تَبَعُوكَ فَوْقَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا إِلَى يَوْمِ الْقِيَامَةِ ثُمَّ إِلَيَّ مَرْجِعُكُمْ فَأَحْكُمُ بَيْنَكُمْ فِيمَا كُنْتُمْ فِيهِ تَخْتَلِفُونَ. Then Allah said to Isa, I've heard you. I will put you in a state and remove you from this dunya. Inni mutawaffik. I want you to pay attention to mutawaffik. وَرَافِعُكَ إِلَيْهِ. And Allah says, I will put you in that state and raise you up from this dunya. That Isa has been preserved in a state of stasis, removed from this dunya before the crucifixion. He was saved before he was killed. That's what Quran says. Biblical scholars say today, the story of the crucifixion in the Bible is fiction. It's fake. They made it up to make the story complete. Biblical scholars, the Pope all the way down, knows it's a false narrative. The crucifixion. It is the core thing that Christians believe, that Jesus died for your sins on the cross. And every major Christian learned person knows that's a lie. It's the biggest lie. And yet they tell people that lie every time to make them believe something false. If Isa died on the cross and resurrected, there is no need for him to come back again and die again and be resurrected. You die once and you'll be resurrected once, according to the Bible. So Muslims have the right understanding and the belief that Allah said about Isa, about Ahlul Kitab and our Jews, وَإِن مِّنْ أَهْلِ الْكِتَابِ إِلَّا لَيُؤْمِنَنَّ بِهِ قَبْلَ مَوْتِهِ وَيَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ يَكُونُ عَلَيْهِمْ شَهِيدًا. That Jews and Christians will believe again in Isa before his real death. Let them make a nation about Al-Quds. Let them bring the hour if they think they will bring the hour. Let E'saa Ibn Maryam come, and let's see how Allah will decide the matter. My dear respected brothers and sisters, you know what the Prophet ﷺ said? Three things. إذا خرجنا لا ينفع نفسا إيمانها لم تكن آمنت من قبل أو كسبت في إيمانها خيرا طلوع الشمس من مغربها والدجال والدابة الأرض. Three things. When they come out, your iman will no longer be accepted if you never believed before. The rising of the sun from the west, Ad-Dajjal and Ad-Dabba. A lot of people are waiting for Ad-Dajjal, thinking Ad-Dajjal is Al-Maseeh. You and I, in every salah, we ask Allah refuge in what? In the tashahud, at the end of it. You seek refuge in Allah from Fitnat al-Masih al-Dajjal. Others will embrace him. Others will make him their president, their king. The fitan is coming, brothers and sisters. In order for us to save ourselves, you need to follow the Quran. When you see a Dajjal, the time is coming to an end. People will follow the Dajjal. People will believe the Dajjal. People will worship the Dajjal. That's what's coming. So some people think if they establish Israel as a nation, these events will happen. Lastly, Allah will then ask Isa in front of humanity. Not in front of the United Nations. As yesterday, they made that condemnation of the actions of the United States. They fell short by sanctioning Israel and the United States. That's not a problem. When Allah assembles the nation, no one has veto power in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No one will veto Allah's punishment. All of these wrongdoers, don't worry, Allah will handle it. Allah will say, إِذْ قَالَ اللَّهُ يَا عِيسَى ابْنَ مَرْيَمَ أَأَنْتَ قُلْتَ لِلنَّاسِ اتَّخِذُونِي وَأُمِّيَ إِلَهَيْنِ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ. Are you the one who told people to take you and your mother as two gods besides Allah? قَالَ سُبْحَانَكَ مَا يَكُونُ لِي أَنْ أَقُولَ مَا لَيْسَ لِي بِحَقٍّ. It's not befitting for me to say something I have no right to say. إِن كُنْتُ قُلْتُهُ فَقَدْ عَلِمْتَ. If I had said it, you would have known it. And he says, you know what's in me, I know what's in you. مَا قُلْتُ لَهُمْ إِلَّا مَا أَمَرْتَنِي بِهِ أَنْ يَعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ رَبِّي رَبًّا. I only convey to them what you told me to convey to them, to worship Allah alone. What Isa says in the end, imagine this, brothers and sisters, the United Nations of humanity, not the United Nations now, not the United Nations of America, not the United States of America, not the European Union or the African Union, the United Nations of mankind. Isa says, إِن تُعَذِّبْهُمْ فَإِنَّهُمْ عِبَادُكَ. If you punish them, they deserve your punishment. They are your servants. They are slaves. وَإِن تَغْفِرْ لَهُمْ. And if you forgive any of them, Allah does say it's because you are Ghafur Rahim. فَإِنَّكَ أَنْتَ الْعَزِيزُ الْحَكِيمُ. It's because you're mighty and you're wise. Not because of just Rahmah. They don't deserve your Rahmah, Isa is saying. Dear respected brothers and sisters, when somebody says to you, Merry Christmas, say, I do not celebrate Christmas. Merry Christmas is the celebration of the birth of Isa, which Christians believe is the birth of the Son of Allah or the birth of Allah Himself. That's the belief of some Christians, that Isa is actually Allah in the flesh. Why would you say Merry Christmas to a person? How about Merry Shirk? If you said that, would that change your understanding? Merry Shirk. It's a very big deal to Allah. لَإِنْ أَشْرَكْتَ لَيَحْبَطَنَّ عَمَلُكَ. When you commit shirk, Allah says, I will nullify all your deeds. I will give you zero reward. Imagine all the salah and all the zakah you've done up to that point. Do not waste your akhirah by being polite. If somebody says Merry Christmas, either keep silent or say, I don't celebrate Christmas. Happy holidays. I don't really have a holiday right now, but thank you. Moving along. If you say Merry Christmas to a Jew, they'll tell you I'm not Christian. Why are we shy to tell people, brothers and sisters, think about this and I conclude. If you truly love your neighbor, your co-worker, an acquaintance that is a Christian, if you truly love them, would you want to see them in Jahannam? If you truly love them, then convey to them the truth about Isa. Many Christians that read Surah Maryam became Muslim because it answers the discrepancies. Just share the word of Allah and people will change if you truly love them. If you don't share what we know, if they go to Jahannam, some of them will say, Ya Allah, I had a Muslim friend, neighbor, 20, 30 years. He came to my parties. He sent me gifts, but he never once told me that this is not the right belief. You don't want somebody to make you the excuse. Don't be afraid. Don't be shy. Don't try to be politically correct or nice. Convey, baligh. Allah gave you the knowledge and the hujjah to save people. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam the tools of da'wah and argumentation to save people, but not to condemn them. Sometimes we're too quick to say, you're going to hellfire. Who am I to say so-and-so is going to go to hellfire? I don't know when they die or where they will die or in which state. Just convey the message. Don't judge people. Convey the message. There are many Christians who don't believe Jesus is the Son of God. There are many Christians who believe there's only one God and that it's not possible for Jesus to be God. You don't know unless you talk to them and you share with them your faith. And that's why Allah brought some of us to America, inshallah. Don't worry about Al-Quds. Allah decided Al-Quds. Allah decided it. Those who don't like Allah's decision, they try to change Al-Quds. Don't worry. It says in the Bible, Isa will punish them all. If they're waiting for Isa to come, don't worry. But have sabr, because al-fitan is coming. Muslims will fight and kill each other. Every Muslim country now is in flames around the Gulf and in Asham. It's under those conditions that Dajjal will come. We want to be ready with Iman and Ihsan. And may Allah protect us from the fitan. Inna Allah wa malaikatahu yusalluna ala al-nabi. يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت وسلمت وباركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد اللهم اهدنا فيمن هديت وعافنا فيمن عافيت وتولنا فيمن توليت وبارك لنا فيما أعطيت وقنا واصرف عنا برحمتك شر ما قضيت فإنك تقضي بالحق ولا يقضى عليك اللهم أعز الإسلام والمسلمين وانصر الإسلام والمسلمين واغفر لجميع موتى المسلمين يا عزيز يا كريم ربنا آتنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين. ربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين واجعلنا من المتقين إماما. واجعلنا للمتقين إماما. اللهم اجعلنا من الموحدين. اللهم اجعلنا من الموحدين. اللهم اجعلنا من الموحدين يا عزيز يا كريم. واجعلنا من الذين يتبعون سنة نبيك محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم ويدعون إليها ويدافعون عنها يا أرحم الراحمين. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. وأقيموا الصلاة.